to you all and welcome to the Irish in the UK. Now we've got some lovely stories lined up for you this week. Rose Morris has been volunteering with the Irish Community Care in Manchester for over 30 years and recently she received a lovely award. The Whitecliff Hotel and Restaurant in Stockport is a beautiful place to go for a nice meal. We went along recently for the opening of phase 2 of the restaurant. But first up, All FM radio station in Manchester recently held a grand opening night for their brand new studio. The station has over 100 volunteers and everybody who came along to perform on the night done it for absolutely nothing. It was a fitting tribute to a former presenter who sadly passed away 10 years ago to have the studio named in his memory. Now, your dad, of course, is a big part of All FM when it first started, and in the early years he'd done so much work to develop All FM.
Yeah, he did. I saw all his coursework and it was his passion and everything he wanted. He would have lived there if he could have done.
Now, of course, your dad died a very young man. He died very, very suddenly, and of course we all miss him so much. Must be a big shock as well to all your family.
Yeah, well, he was radio one day, the next day going to work, stood on the doorstep, gone, just dropped dead. So that is the most painful way to go when you can't say goodbye and someone's not sick. You just out of the blue, they just drop dead.
The radio was his life, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he loved All FM, he loved broadcasting.
He did very much. Even at home, he had his microphone at home, which I've still got now, and his decks and headphones on, and that was him.
Now you've got the rest of your family here with you tonight as well?
Yeah, I've got my daughter here and my dad's cousin, my cousin and her husband. 10 years have passed a decade ago. All FM has given a tribute to the Stevie Fly show. 96.9, it's time to shine. I declare the studio open and end of this rhyme. Thank you.
Marcia, if you could declare Stevie Fly studio open.
Of course, it was a very special moment to see the ribbon being cut here and the new studio opened by yourselves.
Yeah, I read a little poem, a little rhyme that I did, and we gave my auntie some flowers and she cut it because she was very, very close to him from being a child. So obviously I only met him later on in life, but she's been there from when he came here from Jamaica.
Now, are you going to follow in your dad's footsteps and get in here to All FM and start your show?
Well, I thought after me reading my rhyme, you might try and swing that one by me, but you never know, it might be something of interest.
Well, listen, Beverly, lovely to meet you and all your family tonight, and thank you so much for being here, and what a tribute to you and your dad and all your family having the studio named after him.
Yeah, thank you for remembering him 10 years later, and it just shows the impact that he had on everybody. And I know a lot of people have said that he's trained them, so that was nice to know as well, and nice to hear the stories. And I hope everybody that comes in this room, has a really good time.
Well, when I met Stevie in 1999, I was recruiting for the first course for Radio Regen, the charity that gave birth to All FM. And this guy came into the office for his interview, probably 10, if not 20 years older than the average applicant. And he said, I drive a cab, drive a black cab for my living, and I don't want a job with the BBC, I just want to do radio better. You might not fit the bill, I thought at first. And then I got to, even in the space of like 10 minutes, got to know this guy with this extraordinary ability to communicate. And that's what he wanted to do. And so he joined this first group of trainees for Radio Regen. And Radio Regen started out about getting, let's get different people into jobs in mainstream media. Then it started thinking about community radio. Stevie was one of the people that said, no, this can work where I live. He could see how radio stations could work on the street, not through the BBC, not through Piccadilly or any of the big companies, that this idea of volunteer-led, small, not-for-profit stations could be an extraordinary thing for the communities. So he was part of this close gang that really helped me visualise what could happen. So you know, he's been part and parcel of the growth of this place, of my growth as well. And the idea of naming this best studio ever after him is just brilliant.
Ed, what a wonderful night it's been. Everybody's enjoyed it.
It's been a great night. We've had a range of artists, great loads of volunteers, people in the community coming to help us celebrate. And it was in aid of, well, firstly it was in aid of opening our new studio, but it was also in aid of remembering Stevie Fly, who was so instrumental in setting up All FM. And without him, we wouldn't be here today. So I think it was fitting to name the studio after him and celebrate the occasion. We've got a new studio. We're going to build a second studio, reason being so we can broadcast and train at the same time. We have office space to develop and meeting room to develop, and we've got, you know, everything comes from a vision, but we have a grand vision and we're going to see it through, and the studio today is the first part of the vision, and every great journey starts with one small step. All FM is a volunteer-led organisation. All our presenters are volunteers, our producers are volunteers, and it's fitting that this night essentially was volunteer-led.
A community event tonight because so many people was here from different cultures.
Yeah, I mean, our ethos essentially is by the community for the community. And in a sense, it was summed up by tonight. You know, the community came out to support the event, musicians from the community came and performed, volunteers from the community came and helped, and everyone worked together in a common good. Yeah, the artists were amazing. I mean, such a huge range of artists. You know, from Aziz Ibrahim, Marian Waldron, Soul Sounds Choir, George Borowski and Mora. I mean, it's a huge diversity of artists, but huge talent, and we were just very honoured that they came and performed for us on this special occasion.
As manager of All FM, you must be really proud tonight.
Yeah, I'm very proud. Slightly tired, but very proud.
Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home, country road.
Marian, your brand new song, Coat of Many Colours, that's doing really well for you now.
Yeah, it's my version of Dolly Parton's obviously famous song and my take on it. So it's been going well. People seem to like it, and it's getting lots of radio play. So thank you to everyone who's encouraging and supporting it. I've got a new album coming out in the next couple of months, which I'll be able to share with everybody really soon. And within that album is some original material, so some songs that people have never heard of. There's a couple of covers, and there's also about 5 singles that I've already released from this forthcoming album that's gone really well. There's 13 tracks on the album, so 12 tracks with a bonus track of a medley. So that's coming really soon, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with people.
And you just come back from your USA tour as well.
I did, yes. I was in New York. I went back there. I had some bookings, so I was up in East Durham in the Catskill Mountains in upstate New York, and also appeared at the Rockaway Irish Festival. So it was their 7th annual festival in Rockaway, and I was delighted to be asked to attend that, and that was fantastic. It was thousands of Irish people along the beachfront at the festival there, so it was wonderful to be a part of.
Tell us about your TV show.
We're on our 2nd series now, so it went very well on the 1st series. So just before I went to the States, we recorded another 12 episodes of Country Favourites with Marian, and thankfully it's going really well. People are watching it. Thanks very much to everybody who is. It's on every Tuesday evening, 8:30 on Sky 376 or Freesat 516.
Good luck in the future, Marian.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Back through the years I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. I recall a box of rags that someone gave to us, and how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors, every piece was small. I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, perhaps this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it. Her mama blessed it with a kiss. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. Sewing patches on my breeches, holes in both my shoes. With my coat of many colors, I hurried off to school, just to find the others laughing and making fun of me in my coat of many colors.
We wish all of them many happy years of broadcasting in their new studio. And I hope you like Marian Waldron's brand new song, Coat of Many Colours. Now we are going for a little break. Welcome back to the show. Now, Rose Morris is a founding member of Irish Community Care in Manchester. She's been volunteering and caring for the Manchester Irish community for over 30 years, and recently we went along to meet her.
The idea of Irish Community Care started in 1985, just after Father Fullen died suddenly at a very young age, 48, and he ran St Brendan's. And Father Hearn was going to follow him, but he didn't want to run at St Brendan's Club. He would have done the community care part, meeting the Irish and helping the Irish. And so we got together with Michael Ford, who was starting up Irish welfare here as the new Irish Centre opened. And so the idea started there, and then they got Tommy McKenna on board and took it from there. And 2 years later, in 1987, they were able to register Irish Community Care as a charity.
And what was the original idea? You know, to kickstart something, you've got to have some idea.
Well, Irish people coming to Manchester, and especially in the 70s and the early 80s, there were a lot coming out of mainly the north of Ireland. Father Fullen was helping a lot, but from people from all over Ireland. And there were things they could have had to help them if they had hard times that they didn't know about. So really the advice and information, the support, the recruitment of volunteers who would visit them, talk to them, help them, maybe families with problems and things like that. And it was all round help. But it was mainly for those that the ordinary social services wouldn't help. We started off with a group of volunteers, very willing volunteers, and a lot of them came from the Legion of Mary. Noreen Finn was a founder member as well, and she took the idea of having the volunteers, and they'd go out and do some work, and then they'd come back and meet monthly and talk about the work that they'd done. And that was reassuring for the other volunteers, because they knew they were part of something big helping the Irish people. When the volunteers went out, there were things they couldn't do, and they knew that the travellers needed help, that the young people needed help, that the elderly people needed entertainment. You know, they could during the day have some form of entertainment to help their mental well-being. And so Sister Rosaline and Sister Elizabeth, who followed her, looked into the idea of getting grants to pay the wages of staff, and really that's how we grew the organisation. We were up to about 13 staff at one time, and we were very lucky to get the assistance of the Irish government. From 1994 we got our first grant. I think it was about £4,000, and we have still got a good number of volunteers. I think we have 9,200 hours of volunteering in the week, and if that was costed at the minimum wage plus the 150,000, Irish Community Care has putting about £200,000 worth of benefit work and caring work into the Manchester Irish community. Our office is in Levenshulme at the moment. We've just sold the house in Cheetham Hill, but we're getting a big office in Levenshulme, and we hope to have a lot more staff in there. And of course we will have satellite offices around the city so that people don't have to travel.
Now, you've dedicated over 30 years of your life to this, to volunteering, Rose, to the great work you've done here for the people in Manchester, and quite recently you stepped down as chair.
I did. You see, when I went back in as chair 4 years ago, and at that time there were some difficulties in getting grants from the stakeholders, and we had to modernise the organisation because we were registered as a charity, which made trustees liable if anything went wrong, and it was difficult to find trustees because they were frightened of, maybe having debts hanging over them. So we have 5 trustees that are nominated and elected by the Irish community, and then we recruit 5 skilled trustees.
The Irish in Britain have recently made you a lovely award called the Trustees Award, and that is, of course, in recognition of the great work you've done all those years.
Yes, Martin, I was delighted to get that news. It just coincided with me standing down. But it is in recognition of building up that new form of governance to make it a sound organisation. And I'm happy to be leaving at a time when it is in a healthy state.
So looking back over the years, Rose, you must look back with great satisfaction and achievement now for what I suppose the 4 or 5 you done when you first started off Irish Community Care.
Yes, it gives me great pleasure. I met a lot of people, and the lovely people who come into our activities, the elderly people and the chats you have with them. And I've met people from all over Ireland and even further afield. And, it's such a pleasure to know that you have been part of making those things happen for them. And I'd like to acknowledge Michael Ford, Father Hearn and Tommy McKenna and Noreen Finn in the work that they did in the beginning to set this up. They had a great vision, and I'm delighted that it has lasted all this time and that it is still now in a strong position to go forward. I'd like to also thank all our fundraisers and all the people who supported us.
It's great to see Rose being recognised for all the great work she's done down the years. Well done to you, Rose. Now, the Whitecliff Hotel in Stockport is a lovely hotel and restaurant, and recently they opened phase 2 of their new restaurant, and we went along to see what it's like.
The Whitecliff Hotel is a family business. There's myself, my wife, my son and his partner, and we've been in the Stockport area since 1980. And we like to think that it's a nice, warm, friendly place to come and to enjoy a nice meal or stay over if necessary.
Yeah, and of course it's got a great reputation in this area for lovely meals and looking after the clientele.
It has indeed, and hopefully that will continue. We put a lot of effort into the catering side of the hotel. In fact, we've just taken on a young pastry chef who's come from the Midland Hotel in Manchester.
Tell me what's going on here tonight.
Right, tonight is a double celebration. Firstly, we're saying thank you to a lot of our existing customers that have supported us over the years. Obviously, times have not been easy recently, and we appreciate all the efforts customers come to dine here and to enjoy a nice meal. Secondly, we're celebrating the fact that we're opening a new coffee and cocktail bar. It'll be open 6 days a week. We're going to be opening Monday to Friday for coffee at lunchtime from 10:30 in the morning till 6 in the evening, and then on a Thursday, Friday and Saturday evenings going to be cocktails for people to enjoy.
Now, can large groups come along? Can people, or is it for individuals, or what have you intended?
Anything really. Obviously it's not a large bar, probably about 30 to 40 people, so depends how large the parties are, but certainly we'll be happy to discuss anything. In the main restaurant upstairs we can easily cater for 80 plus, So it's quite a good size.
And of course the hotel is run by your family, of course, and there's great warm feeling here when people walk in.
Well, I think in this day and age that it makes a difference. I think there are far too many large, impersonal businesses, and I think it's nice for customers, for clients, for guests to see the people that are genuinely passionate about what they do.
The food in here is probably as good as you'll get anywhere around this town, Stockport and into Manchester. They do specialities, and some of the stuff they do in here now is the traditional stuff, Chateaubriand, steak Diane. A lot of places you don't get it. It comes in packaged, and but here it's cooked on the premises. I just love it, and the staff are perfect.
Now you've had lots of events here over the last couple of years.
Yes, I do a fundraising thing every now and again. I seem to be putting myself about too much, maybe getting too old for this carry on. But hopefully, a thing that has been hit me this year, Vincent Company from City brought it up, this homelessness, brought it to the fore. And maybe we thought perhaps we might try and do something in this locality for the homeless. So we're looking at that for this year. We have to do something. We have to do something. The Wellspring and other organisations have been going here in the Stockport area for a long time. But if you help people, you need that follow-on support for them. And hopefully we'll be able to put something together. Maybe raise enough money to do something that'll bring more people involved and make us more there. But for the grace of God could any of us be. And a lot of our people from Ireland, I've known them down the years who are in homeless, but please God we can do something this year.
It's great to see the Whitecliff Hotel doing so well. I know where to go for a lovely meal now. Now that brings us to the end of the show for this week. I hope you've really enjoyed it at home. Don't forget Henry McGlade is back next Thursday evening with his show at 7 o'clock, and we are here with the Irish in the UK at 7:30. Now we're going to leave you with a lovely song from Olivia Douglas. See you next time.
It's really no secret what a hug can do. It makes you smile, and in a little while you'll want another hug or two. A hug or two can say much more than words can do. So anytime you're feeling blue, try a little hug or two. When I was young, my mother would say, you can't go out, girl, until you pay. But ma, sure, I haven't any money for you. She said you can pay me with a hug or two. A hug or two. It's really no secret what a hug can do. It makes you smile, and in a little